Right then, let's check this video out from Hex Juice, shall we? Or from more Hex Juice. Why I quit Genshin Impact. Okay. I do know that she's not exactly a fan of this game from watching her recent videos and seeing some clips from her stream. So let's see the reasons why then, shall we? I'm just gonna hazard a guess that I think this is majority of people's reasons why. Beyond all of the other stuff with the game, I just always think one thing that seems to be a consistent issue with people who've got problems with Genshin Impact is getting around the game, is traversing the world. That's one of the biggest things to me. And I know for some people it might seem like a minor, but for an open world game, it's such a major issue. And I've seen so many people who have kind of moved away from Genshin or are really frustrated with Genshin. It's like, it's in the list. It's one of the highest on the list and it's super frustrating. But let's see what you got to say.
At what point did you realize this game wasn't for you? I mean, today, when I started trying to get around in the world and it still felt like how it felt.
I feel like I've watched this video subconsciously. Did I watch this in my sleep or something last night?
In 2020. Back when you were spending, I realized that Genshin wasn't for me during the Ayato banner because if you guys remember, the period of time between Liyue and Inazuma releasing.
Traversal looks so dog shit. Yeah, I've got to admit, man, like I say, it's not even like a surprising thing to have assumed she was going to say, because I think even people who are super fans of the game have got to admit traversal in the game is not optimal, right? It's just not optimal. And there are some glazes, like I've seen it in my comments recently, especially on the video we made about Genshin the other day. Some people just really will not and refuse to admit that. And hey, if you don't find it an issue at all, then good for you. But yeah, I think it's a major issue for everybody. And I just got there, unskippable dialogue. I've seen a lot of people saying that as well. That's another major factor. These are just quality of life options as well. They're not game, well, they are game changing, but they're not major in regards to reworking the game. They're just little things that get added to the game that all layer up and make a massive difference.
It was very long and it was full of just nothing fucking patches. It was an absolutely interminable and unbearable wait, and it was fucking misery. Waiting for Inazuma to come out after like the...
See, I was lucky. I was super late to the Genshin party, so I didn't get any of that. Inazuma had already happened, and I got to get through all of that content, you know? Inazuma was like the latest area to be released when I started playing Genshin, so I was able to just fly through a bunch. I had so much stuff to do, so I was able to really enjoy the experience when I first started the game. Not saying people who started the game day one didn't get that, but you know, I didn't have that like break in between major content updates, so it was a really enjoyable experience for me. And I still like Genshin Impact. I won't let people know that who come to my videos. I think Genshin's a great game. It's just that, you know, it's got issues. It's definitely got its issues, like all the other gacha games. None of them are perfect. But yeah, I got to enjoy that spread of content, and it was a really enjoyable experience, actually.
The initial first two areas was pretty fucking miserable. And then getting to Inazuma, and it was not different.
I thought Inazuma was a really good part of the game.
I had been doing, but like purple. And I was waiting for Inazuma because I was like on the verge of burnout, right? I was like on the verge of just like, man, I'm kind of tired of this fucking game. Oh God, like I gotta log in, but I want to do my daily.
See, like for me, Inazuma, I thought was a really enjoyable area. I liked it. There was some stuff that felt like, I don't know, it was a little bit slow. Some of the companion stuff, like, you know, but I thought it was an enjoyable update, personally.
Please, I spent all this money. I waited this time, and like Inazuma was like supposed to be so fucking exciting. I was so excited for Inazuma, dude. I think I literally took days off from work to play Inazuma for the first time. And then it was the exact same thing I had been doing, but purple. And then I also lost more 50-50s and shit, and I was also part of it. But that's also why I left. That's why.
I do think that comes into a lot of people as well, especially people who are spenders on the game, is they get a fatigue with Genshin of just how harsh the systems in the game can be and how ungenerous the game can be in general compared to even other Hoyo titles, not to mention other gacha games. It really can be fatiguing for people who spend. I only spent like 40 quid on Genshin, but the systems really aren't that friendly for free to play or for light spenders, really. And I think that can add on to, obviously, with all these little quality of life things, but that can be a real fatiguing thing as well. You either get that sunk cost fallacy, that sunk cost bias, where you can't help but trick yourself into continually loving it, or you just genuinely love it, you know, because you've spent cash. And then there's that other side of it where you spend cash and you become increasingly frustrated because the game isn't giving you what you necessarily want, and then he's kind of shafting you as well on the systems that are in the game.
That's why I stopped playing. It's the same thing I've been doing more or less, just different colors.
Hey, what's up,
And
Neil?
more annoying puzzles, like worse, irritating puzzles that I hated. And so, yeah, that's kind of it. And this is the same thing, but it's wet in the Endos dinosaurs. For me, the difference is like there's Burnout and Genshin, but it's also like a lot of shit about how they actually do the game. The way that they do patches, the way that they put out content, the way that they do characters, the stinginess. Like there's so much.
It is stinginess with the systems, and then with the way the content works as well. And I haven't played the game in a while now, and I haven't even experienced the fatigue of that myself, because as I said, I came into the game when Inazuma was a thing. Sumeru was coming, and it was coming soon as well. Like I didn't have downtime really. By the time I'd finished Inazuma, Sumeru was here. I was able to like continue straight on. Although that's kind of where I've stopped. I haven't played since then, so that wasn't a massive factor for me. And I still have felt the fatiguing systems in the game. And obviously, from watching more and more people who've played the game for so much longer and still play the game, but have like maybe gone on to play other games a little bit more regularly now, but still dipping in and out to Genshin, I can definitely see that fatigue in those people.
There's a lot fundamental to Genshin that they don't change despite knowing it's a problem, because they change it in other games. That's kind of what it is, right? They know that the issues exist and know how to fix them because they have done it in their other games.
That's the frustrating thing. We spoke about this in the video yesterday regarding the new artifact system and the synthesis. They know these things are quality of life issues because they've added them to the other games. They've improved these systems, but yet they seem to refuse to replicate them in Genshin. And I don't understand why. You would think that from the top down, I know there's different development teams and different producers and all this sort of stuff. You would think from the top down, Hoyo would try and push this on the Genshin team, unless they just get a little bit more freedom because they are the guys that started it all. They're kind of maybe giving a little bit of respect to kind of do their own thing, potentially. I don't know the inner workings of Hoyo, but you would think they would want them to replicate these quality of life things that are obviously benefiting these games, definitely benefiting Star Rail, because Star Rail's their biggest provider really now. You would think that they'd add these things into Genshin, especially considering the game's been out for 4 years and has made them crap tons of money, but they just seem to just not want to. Now, I don't know if it is those things, or it's just that they understand that the Genshin community, or large parts of the Genshin community, will just take it to the face and just continue soldiering on and trudge through the crap that's thrown at them, like, you know what I mean?
But they don't do it in this game. And at the end of the day, I think that for me, I can't really get past that. Maybe if they'd not put out other games and fixed those fundamental issues in those games and released those games with those fundamental issues fixed.
True. It's a positive that they're doing that, but at the same time, you're looking like, wait a minute, this makes it even worse now, because you're showing me that you're capable of doing it and willing to do it there, but you refuse to do it here. It's kind of weird.
I wouldn't be so bitter. But to act like this fixed issues that people had in any legitimate fashion in this game is crazy. This patch did bare minimum shit to make it seem like they wanted to change, but they didn't. And that's ultimately...
That's exactly what I said as well. That they've moved the dial slightly. They've attempted to add things that on the surface look like they're really trying to cater to the things that people have asked for, but the dial's shifted so slightly. It's been the slightest shift in, it's like, you know, instead of throwing a bone to the community, they've thrown a crumb, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, we did what you asked, you know, but it's like, come on, man, come on, stop taking the piss.
Ultimately, the fundamental difference between getting burnt out on a game, for me, and, like, I'm not okay with the game. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the thing is with Genshin that they continuously do this. I don't know why. And again, it's okay if you don't have a problem.
I think a fundamental thing is that the majority of the community accepts it potentially. I don't know, but I think that's probably what it is. The community has accepted these things for so long that there's just probably no desire. They've probably got a lot less people working on the game now. I don't know. Maybe they're off working on other stuff. Potentially they've been moved around within the Hoyo space to work on potential new titles, to work on different parts of the company. And maybe they've got, the main boss roster of the team is working on the banners and and upcoming story content, and that quality of life stuff's just not being worked on because maybe the people are not there. I don't know. But it is a frustrating thing to, and they're little things that really wouldn't affect their bottom line. If anything, it might go up because it would pull so many people back. They were just not done with the game, but are done with the game because of frustration.
With it, that doesn't mean anything to me because you're not me. You not having an issue with something, A, it doesn't invalidate the criticism, and B,
that's true as well. You're allowed to be fine with the game as well. I know some people really want to be able to tell Genshin players who still enjoy the game and are fine with all the systems that you shouldn't enjoy those systems. But at the end of the day, if they enjoy them and it really doesn't bother them, that is fine. It is fine. But at the same time as well, it doesn't invalidate other people having a major problem with those things.
Is entirely meaningless to my personal opinion and how I feel. I think that there is not a single person who really does not like the game that did not love the game at some point. I think it would be hard to find someone who hates the game. Like, that would be a hater.
Especially anybody who's speaking about the game still to this day. I think anybody who was a hater left a long time ago. They had the hate period and the bounced. I think people who are critical of Genshin now and potentially might slander it were probably once big fans of the game. And the game just lost them, really. And at the same time, though, the game has been going for over 4 years now. 4 years. So it's had a good run as well. And I'm not saying it's done. It's far from it. But it's had a really good run for a single player with co-op live service game. That's pretty freaking decent.
That didn't at some point absolutely adore Genshin. Because you can only really feel passionate about disliking something if there was some amount of, like, care or familiarity or like softness or positivity about it, you know? Like, you can't hate something if you didn't like love it or like it before. Like, there's very few people that really are passionate about their dislike of the game that never liked it at all. And so that's kind of the sad thing about being a hater is, like, I want to like the game. I want to go back and feel like, you know, look at all the cool stuff I have from that time. Let me look back at this and feel the nostalgia of having played this game. Let me look at my KFC chicken wings, my first anniversary rewards that they were guilt-tripped into giving us. I want to feel, like, happy about this, but really, it's just like, hey, okay, yeah, I'm a little ashamed of my gambling.
It is a shame when you get to that point with anything you love, though, isn't it? Whether it be whatever, kind of, whatever it is, you know? But it is a shame when you get to that point, especially with a game, I feel, because, you know, because of the interactable sense of a game, of when you go from it being something that you genuinely had love for and you just don't now, whether that's a game, a series of games, or whatever. You know, like for me, one of those is, I know, basic gamer move, Call of Duty. I used to be a big fan of Call of Duty back in the day, Halo as well, you know, the OG days, 2007 to like 2011, 12, when Call of Duty was just like the top of the mountain. You know, you didn't get any better or bigger. It was where everybody was at, and I had so many good memories on that game. And it's just, I fell out of love with the game now. And it is kind of sad, but it's, as time goes by as well, you know, we change. And sometimes the stuff that we love doesn't change with us, I guess. And sometimes it changes, and maybe not for the better, or it's just a moment in time as well that you just can never go back to also.
Problem that I had at the time.
And it does suck.
It doesn't feel like it was worth it at all. It does not feel like it was on a game that I legitimately felt was good at all. That I felt was worth the effort or the time or the hope at all. The amount of time spent with AR-57? Well, if you had been listening, you'll know that I have not played this game in years. So yeah. Is 60 the max? It was, yeah. Also, AR-57 is a ton of time invested into this game, and that is objectively true. AR-57 takes months of grinding. And it takes way longer to get to 60. Again, I've not played in years. I mean, if time isn't relevant enough to you, the money is. But yeah, my bad. Let me grind out.
Both should be just as relevant. You know, you can get money back. Money's replaceable. Time isn't. It is a commodity. It is a currency at the end of the day. But if you enjoy yourself while you're doing those things, and you can look back and you don't feel regret, then it's not time wasted, is it? But if you do look back and you're like, damn, what was I doing? That is a crappy feeling, I must admit. I don't think I've ever had that feeling with games, though. I've never really looked back on a game and been like, man, I wasted so much time on that. There's games that I've played that I'm like, I don't know why I played that, but I've never really put that much time into a game that I genuinely didn't have a passion for, you know?
Out to 60 so I can have like a valid opinion on the game. I'm glad that I went back and discovered this again. Sometimes you just gotta go back It's like the every 6 months you gotta play Minecraft for 2 weeks to remember that it's boring and then stop playing it again. You know, it's kind of like that, and that's fine. But yeah.
Sometimes it's like meeting old friends, isn't it, in a way? You know, you meet old friends again, and then you realize that, like, they're not bad. They're not bad people, but you can understand why you're not really friends anymore. You know, you both changed, or maybe one of you hasn't and the other one has, kind of thing. But you understand, you go back and you're like, oh, okay, this was nice at the time, but it's not really me anymore.
I just think Genshin is past its prime, like Honkai Impact. Yeah. I think it's okay. I think it's okay that it's the same. If you like the game, you like the game. It still has everything that I don't like about it. They're willing to make.
And I still think as well, if you haven't played this game at all yet, it's still a great game to get into. It's free. You've got so many hours of fun to be had in the game. It's got its flaws, but no game's perfect. But I think if you haven't played this game yet, I think it's worth a try, and I think you will have fun in the game. You know, if you're a new player, and hey, even if you're a returning player. But I think if you haven't played the game and you like open world ARPGs, action RPGs with the Japanese twist, obviously I know they're Chinese games, but you know what I mean. With the art style, I think you'll have fun. There is a fun time to be had here, and especially for new players as well.
Changes for the sake of seeming like they made changes, but I'm not sure that they're actually doing anything all that beneficial or impactful. And again, it's okay if you still like it. It's okay if you liked the changes, and it's okay if you disagree with me. We can shake hands. I would break bread with you anyway. Unless you stink, because then, you know, whatever. Unless you're a stinky guy, then I won't. And, like, she's cute. There's a lot of charm to this game. Like, we could be real. There is a lot of charm to Genshin Impact, and I still see it. Me surfing on this little girl with her little shark. This shit pre-fucking poggers. Look at that shark. Look at it. This ship slay. This is a lot of fun. And if I was somebody who really still enjoyed Genshin Impact, I'd be getting the craziest dopamine right now. I can appreciate
creaming
a lot of things about Genshin, and I was a Genshin lover once upon a time. I was not always the Genshin hater, you know. And it makes me sad, because, like, you know, I did spend a lot of money on this game. Yeah, I'd be freaking out if you know how excited I get when there's, like, even something as small as this and things that I really like, I would have been really, really happy about, you know? I would have been. That's undeniable, I think. But yeah, like, this would, if I still had the love for this, I would super fucking enjoy surfing around on a little short. Absolutely. And I see the charm of this game, and I've always seen the charm in this game. That's why I spent, like, I don't know, I'd guess probably 7K on the game.
That's a lot of money to spend on something that you regret as well, you know? That's a decent second-hand car, that is, you know? You could get a really decent second-hand BMW, 3 Series BMW over here for, like, that sort of money. And at the end of the day, if you've had fun with it, whatever, but that sucks to look back and be like, yeah, wish you hadn't done that.
You know what I mean? Probably
Regrets,
7K would be
mistakes
about accurate.
made.
Shame. I'll take the shame. That's fine. That's fine. I'll take it. I mean, I am ashamed of it. It was stupid. It was bad. It was a bad thing to do. It was a poor way of using my money at the time. I could have used it on a lot of other things. Could have invested it. I spent it on Genshin. And I'm okay with
Back in the 2020 days as well. Ooh, we could have made some serious money on some investments then.
that.
We won't talk about those ones, but you could have made some serious cash.
Part of that is my fault, but also part of it is, like, I didn't really understand what gacha was. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people had problems with it. What change would make you love this game? What mount? I think it goes deeper than that at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's, like, one single specific simple change that could...
Again, for me, it's a myriad of small changes that could really improve Genshin and put it in a better standing. You know, a myriad of them. It's not just one thing that's like, right, if they change this, the game would be a lot better. Well, it'd be on the way. And it's not even major things as well. That's the thing. It's just small, little quality of life things. And this is why I give Wuthering Waves credit. Continually, we're getting these quality of life updates. People are like, this is a kind of frustrating thing in the game. Okay. A couple of weeks later, patch or 2 later, it's been changed. It's added into the game. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing to see. And Genshin just, for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen, does it?
Could fix it. I think that there's, like, a general overhaul that I would love to happen that is I think in a lot of ways, like, too much to ask. I think unfortunately this game is also just like really outdated as well. But ultimately, I would love to love Genshin
I think
again.
it's at the end of its service
But
now,
I
isn't it,
think
really? It's
the
coming to the
reality
twilight
is
years, you
that
know?
I think at this point, it's
I
a
don't think
bit
that's a hot take, really.
unsavable. I don't see it as outdated, at least in the gacha gender. The only thing really lacking is the movement and parry system when compared to Wuwa. Okay. The gacha gender is kind of slay. Gacha games got to be one of my favorite genders. I personally don't play anymore, but Hoyo doesn't have a reason to change when the community riots and proceeds to C6 the next banner unit, giving Hoyo tens of millions.
True.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. This game is just not like I don't even know how somebody could argue that it's not outdated. And again, like you have to remember
It is 4
that
years
some of
old,
the
though.
changes,
You know, it
that
is 4
still
years
have
old. To
not
give
been
it
made
credit,
to
it's
Genshin
4
Impact
years old now.
were being asked for in 1.0.
This is true.
And even some of the ones that have been implemented are objectively shittier, not only than in other non-Hoyo games,
This is
but
also true.
shittier than the versions of them in other Hoyo games.
I think that's the biggest factor that's come to the like to wake a lot of people up, if I want to use that term. That where they've gone like, wait a minute, other games are doing it, but you're doing it in your other games. Like, what the hell is this? Like, make it make sense.
Games.
The
Probably
side
'cause a lot
chicks
of
getting
phones and older
treated
consoles,
better
they don't
than the
change a lot at a
wifey.
time. I don't know. I feel like their
Which I guess
Hoyo
is how it
version they
goes.
could if they wanted to, but they don't really have a reason to. And that's like whatever, make your bag. But I don't think it's fair to assume that everybody has to pretend like that's slaying. I don't know. This game just is what it is. I had a fun time joking around with you guys. I had fun doing it either way, but man, I'd rather go coom over Jane Doe than see this like kid shit. I'd really rather.
Big factor for me as well, which frustrated me throughout my playtime in this game, because I did enjoy my playtime and the story. You know, it wasn't anything earth-shattering, but it was a nice little enjoyable thing. I think we all know what's on screen, which is a bit of a hindrance to the story. It's this little floating fucker here. Super annoying character in the game, and never really got pulled back, in my opinion. It was just a real terrible vehicle for storytelling in my eyes. And I just think in Honkai Star Rail, they did so much better of a job of that. The team around you was kind of like the way that the story was told, the interaction with your team and the people. It wasn't this like, oh, I'm just an avatar and this is basically my voice. Because that's kind of what Paimon is. She is you in a sense. She's like your expression as a character in the game. And it's so annoying because she's just, it's just like, stop, man, leave me alone.
Go jerk my peanuts about Jane Doe or Chong Li. How many days until I don't know. When is Jane Doe coming out? When is the Jane Doe banner? It's gotta be soon, right?
I'm gonna get back on
tomorrow,
Zenless.
probably, like 7 days. I gotta wait another week.
Yeah, good video. This is from a second channel. Yeah, more Hex Juice. And you know, I ain't even subscribed to this. I'm gonna drop a sub. Yeah, obviously I can't say I agree because this is a personal experience of the game and everybody's is different. Mine's different because I come later, so I didn't get that necessary burnout for like from the downtime in between patches. That wasn't something that like built up with me of like, you know, oh man, I'm just waiting for that next bit of content kind of thing. I'm waiting for some events or just something. I didn't get that. There was a lot of stuff in the game and I was able to like continually go through the story. And by the time I'd got to that point, new area was ready to come. So I didn't get that, but I did get fatigue. One of the, again, I know for a lot of people, it seems really minor. The traversal was a major issue for me. Traversing the world, just, it starts off great. It's fine. But like after hours and hours and hours of just getting about, it's just like, this is not fun anymore. And I know people will be like, you know, the fast travel and stuff like that. But I think if you've got an open world and traveling around is becoming so frustrating that your argument was the fast travel, you know, you've still got to do some forms of traversal. You have to. There's no getting away from it. It's just, it's a real big thing for me. And it's super annoying. And I just don't understand why it was never fixed. And now the fixes that they're kind of offering now are kind of like half fixes, and then some fixes are behind a paywall, and then other fixes are not, but they're not really proper fixes. They're kind of just this little, again, they're throwing some crumbs to you. And it baffles me. It baffles me why they do it. Well, I know it's money, but you just think now, with all the money they've made, these are sort of things that just could be added. But I guess they're squeezing what's left of the player base. And for the most part, the player base seem to be pretty happy to be squeezed. So I can't be mad at that. At the end of the day, if they're happy with it, have fun with the game. I hope you continue to enjoy it. I genuinely do. I will be back on Genshin at some point myself as well. I like the game, but I just playing other games at the moment as well. I've got no desire to like go back right away. But yeah, great video from Hex. You should check her out as well. Check out her main channel. Go show some love, subscribe, all that good stuff.